In the US and many parts of the world, there are many small towns that are relatively far away from large cities. These small towns usually suffer from population decline and are no longer able to staff regular medical facilities, even though their residents are getting older and need more medical care than ever. In this story, a fictitious small town in America decides to try out a mobile clinic service offered in a 20-foot container. The town decides to host the mobile clinic in the local middle school parking lot. The mobile clinic takes up only 4 contiguous parking spaces and is supported by 4 landing gears, which extend and retract automatically. The bottom of the trailer is only 14 inches from the ground when the landing gears are fully retracted. It is just big enough to be specialized for different types of services, such as dentistry or primary care exams, or emergency care. After a week at a site, the clinic rotates to the next town. The nurse sees the last patient off and preps the clinic for moving. She contacts the mover service with her smartphone and enters the pickup and drop-off time and location. The mover app's back-end service schedules the best mover pair that can fulfill the request. As part of the automated pickup workflow, the smart container begins self-test, including the ability to raise its own height. The automatically controlled landing gears also enable a smart container to auto-level on a site with an acceptable grade. When fully extended, the bottom of the smart container can be 4 foot from the ground, enough clearance for the mover to crawl under and dock to. The self-check is performed before the service is scheduled to ensure that the movers can successfully dock to the smart container upon arrival at the pickup location. At the requested pickup time, a mover pair arrives and rendezvous with the smart container, which wirelessly connects to the mover pair and authenticates, and finally allows the mover pair to dock to it. The movers can tow in the front wheels to execute a tank turn around the rear axle, so that they can dock to the smart container even in tight spaces. The rear mover has to retract its sensor mount in order to crawl under the smart container and dock to its side pylon pair. The front mover truck has a traditional fifth wheel hitch that can dock to the smart container's front kingpin. After ensuring that the container is securely docked to it, the mover pair commands the container to raise the landing gears and prepares for departure. If the site is level enough, the mover can execute a tank turn, even with the container on top of it, to maneuver in tight spaces. When moving the smart container, the mover pair drives cooperatively. The rear of the container is carried by the rear mover and drives much like a traditional semi-trailer being towed by the front mover, except that the rear mover is also helping to steer and is providing a significant pushing force to help the front mover. The front mover does not have a traditional side or rear view mirrors, and instead communicates with the rear mover for total real-time environmental monitoring. Tonight, the mobile clinic is headed back to the regional hub clinic for regularly scheduled inventory refresh and equipment maintenance. The remote driver responsible for the handoff to the customer will make reasonable attempts to accommodate the smart container owner's requested drop-off spot. The movers are small and maneuverable even while carrying a smart container on their back, so the smart containers can be dropped off at locations that would normally be inaccessible for traditionally towed trailers. Once the smart container extends the landing gears and confirms the weight transfer, The mover pair undocks from the smart container in reverse order of the docking procedure. Once undocked, the mover pair drives off to pick up another smart container. They will spend most of the time in parking lots and on public roads, either moving a smart container or on the way to one, and only come back for major repair or maintenance. A much smaller fleet of human-operated trucks carrying fuel and light maintenance equipment will intercept the movers on the road and keep the maintenance time to a minimum. But the customer doesn't have to care about the back-end operation of the mover fleet. She cares only about the mobile business she can run profitably through the mover service and keeping her customers happy. In our story, the mobile clinic becomes an indispensable service for the town, which soon adopts other mobile services, such as the barbershop and hair salon. A smart container can be equipped with battery and water and waste tank for services that need to operate off-grid. Did you notice how similar the mobile clinic and mobile barber containers are? This is by design. The smart container is a common platform with two core features: exoskeletal frame and the mover truck docking interface. A smart container is subject not only to its own static weight and the weight of all goods inside, but also to the dynamic forces and moments while it is being carried on top of a mover pair. Exoskeletal structure offers the highest strength-to-weight ratio to withstand these forces and moments, while still preserving the full interior volume for use. These frames can be mass manufactured, and the interior and exterior can be custom tailored for each application. The docking interfaces on the bottom of the container frame are standardized. The rear kingpin self-aligns the rear mover to the pylon pair during docking and prevents the pylons from sliding laterally once docked. The back half of the container is supported by the pylon pair. The front kingpin is just like the traditional trailer kingpin, except it sticks out lower to self-align to the front mover's fifth wheel during docking. You might be skeptical about the need for a new kind of containers. What's wrong with the existing way to tow cargo trailers? Firstly, you need a driver to manually dock to the trailer, and it's difficult. Second, trailers have wheels and brakes. They are classified as motor vehicles that have to be registered. The vehicle part costs money to buy and maintain and is a burden for the end user. Let's step back and start with what the end user cares about: her own business or personal needs. The simplest possible container is just sheet metal on top of a frame. Even fully skinned with signage for business, it can't cost more than $10,000. The problem is that you need a way to transport this. You need wheels and an engine. And this is how a large container is moved around today, on top of a big truck and a trailer bed, which are heavy, expensive, and require special license to operate. This is more trouble and expense than what a typical user wants to deal with. Clearly, just getting a trailer that can be towed and paying for towing service makes more sense. So let's consider the publicly quoted shipping container moving price. Despite a large variance, the price seems high even for very short distance move. This can be seen more clearly by looking at the cost per distance. At long distance, the per mile cost approaches the trucking industry average. Therefore, the price for extremely short move should be considered the terminal cost of the pickup and drop-off, and that is where the movers shine, significantly lowering the cost of short distance move by automating the pickup and drop-off. But the important question is, by how much? We can model the influence of various factors in a P&L spreadsheet. Some factors are more controllable than others, but at nominal values of each factor, which we've deliberately leaned toward the conservative side, the break-even pickup fee is $71 and break-even per distance fee is 89 cents per mile if we ignore the R&D cost. We saw earlier that even a short distance towing seems to cost $1,000 to $2,000. So the $71 pickup fee is a fantastic deal for the customer. And 89 cents per mile variable cost compares favorably to the trucking industry average cost per mile of $1.38. This means that the mover service can become a high margin business if the R&D cost can be kept low. What's even better is that the break-even costs are relatively insensitive to the business factor variations around the nominal values. So far, we deliberately ignored the R&D cost from profit calculation, even though we expect it to be in the millions of dollars. This is because the R&D cost is the ultimate fixed cost. It costs nearly the same R&D to develop and operate a fleet of 10 versus 1 million vehicles. The flip side is that if we can figure out the smallest scale operation that can pay for R&D, then any operational scale beyond that is pure profit. So starting with a small-scale operation of 200 mover pair fleet, each pair performing roughly 2 moves per day, we would have to charge a $400 pickup fee to organically sustain a serious R&D effort. If thereafter the mover service gains popularity so that the vehicle duty cycle improves to 5 moves per day, then we can start to lower the pickup fee to $250, which starts to make sense for even individual customers. If the mover service becomes wildly popular at the initial launch metro area and the vehicle duty cycle doubles again, then the business might start to turn noticeable profit even at $200 pickup fee. And finally, if we can expand the service to multiple metros, then the business looks organically profitable even while charging a ride-hailing level of pickup fee. Sounds too good to be true, doesn't it? I mean, if it's that profitable, why doesn't Uber and Lyft already offer this service? Why not just put any mobile business on a flatbed trailer and tow it around? Well, firstly, a tow trailer is still a motor vehicle. The responsibility to keep it roadworthy is a significant burden. Second, the resulting form factor is not ideal. You either give up a lot of floor space to the wheel well, or else you have to keep the floor high above the ground, requiring many steps up. Thirdly, towing methods are not standardized and tend to be tailored for each trailer. Not even Uber and Lyft can manage this many combinations. And finally, the elephant in the room. Neither the trailer owner nor the towing service provider can trust each other in case the other party's equipment malfunctions. Given that an average truck accident settlement already exceeds $70,000, it is easy to see why the liability concern has held back level 4 autonomy despite billions of dollars invested in the past 20 years. The proposed solution for all these problems is for one company to fully own the mover fleet and assume liability while moving a smart container, which is possible only if all smart containers comply with the docking interface specification. Outside of this requirement, the smart containers can be customized in any manner and be used for whatever purpose, such as for construction, where equipment stay at a job site for easily a week or more, or defense, where equipment can also be deployed near a conflict zone for months on end. An example is a remote piloting pod for drones. or at warehouses, because exoskeletal frame can enclose a large payload like a shipping container. Individuals who need to move large items occasionally would also benefit. For example, RV owners today tow the trailers themselves with heavy-duty trucks. With the Mover service, they can avoid the cost and effort necessary for towing. Any container that is only occasionally moved is an ideal candidate for the smart container conversion. For example, if you're a motorsport enthusiast, you wouldn't need to buy or rent a trailer and a truck just to haul your track toy to the racetrack once in a while. Thank you for your attention through this long presentation. Let's close with a perspective. The mega trend of the past 30 years has been the mobile devices. But the next generation wants to go beyond mobile. They want to roam. The future is roaming, and we want to contribute to it. Are you still here? Thank you for your deep interest in this presentation. Please enjoy this extra footage celebrating Americana.